Hey everyone, how's it going? Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com. This is No DQ's post WrestleMania 33 discussion video. 7 hours. This show actually went past midnight on the East Coast. So technically, this is the first WrestleMania in history that spanned 2 separate days. Unbelievable. Overall, I felt about this show the same way as I felt about WrestleMania 21. And I'll get your guys' overall thoughts real quick before we break down the matches. I thought this show was a lot like WrestleMania 21, where the first 2/3 of the show, it was awesome. And then the last third, it fell off a cliff for me personally. I felt the last third was pretty disappointing. So Jeff, real quick, what were your overall thoughts on this year's WrestleMania?
Well, to be honest with you, Aaron, I'm going to be upfront with everybody right now. I have literally been in this bed behind me watching WrestleMania sick as a freaking dog. I completely slept through a good part of it. So I apologize for my professionalism here. I've literally been coughing up lungs here the last 24 to 48 hours or so. So I apologize. But what I saw, like you said, Aaron, the first 2/3 or so were really good. Once it got toward the big matches everybody came to see, like 21, it kind of went.
What do you think, Greg?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think parts after the first 2/3 were decent, and we'll get into it later. But overall, much happier than I was with last year's.
I agree.
32 was a train wreck. 33 was much more enjoyable.
I agree.
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, and to piggyback off of Greg, I thought that obviously the first half or whatever, the first 2/3 was clearly the best. The last of it had its moments, very predictable, but we'll obviously get into that. We got a big show tonight.
Yeah, we have 13 matches to discuss here. The pre-show started at 2. I believe the Cruiserweight match started at 2:30. The ramp was 80 yards long, so it was pretty damn long. And they also announced that Tom Phillips is only the 5th man in WWE history to do lead commentary at WrestleMania. So there you go. Tom Phillips moving on up. But anyways, we had the Cruiserweight title match. The good news for this match was that most of the crowd was there, unlike last year where you had the crowd largely empty for Kalisto and Ryback. You had most of the people there already for the Cruiserweight match, which was good. The match itself was very good. I thought it was a strong way to start the show. We all predicted Austin Aries to win for some reason, and people were calling us idiots for that. But I like the way it was done. I mean, it was done in a way to get Neville over as a heel and protect Aries in a losing effort. Neville basically cheating, and I think he raked Aries in his bad eye, and then he hit the red arrow to pick up the victory. So he had to cheat to win to retain his title. I thought that was well done. David, your thoughts on the match?
Well, I thought Neville came off looking more heelish, and again, as you said, it protects both of them really. So I don't see this feud being over just yet, but. Austin Aries, I'm sure the both of them said, you know what, screw it. We may be on while it's still daylight out. It may only be 5 o'clock or whatever Eastern time, but we're going to go out here and give it a great match. So that's exactly what they did, and it wasn't a bad for the kickoff show. What do you think, Jeff?
I couldn't agree more. These two guys felt they had a lot to prove. Aries himself said on Twitter, it's not about the match placement, it's about the quality of the match, and he's right. This match really set the tone. It was quicker than it probably should have been, honestly, but you know what? WrestleMania matches tend to go quicker than they should in recent years, so it doesn't surprise me. But I like the whole protecting both guys. They protected Neville and his healed them by having him cheat to win and retain the championship, and they protected Aries' strong standing as a babyface by having him lose in a very dastardly way. So, like you said, Dave, I think it's far from over. What do you think, Greg?
Well, cheat to win, I was trying to do the Eddie Guerrero shimmy, but I'm sitting down, so I can't really pull it off too well.
Ross, we can do it. Come on, yeah. Group effort.
Okay, I'll bust it up. Regardless, that snap German suplex that Neville does is sickening. Yes. I mean, he dropped Gallagher on his head at Fastlane, and he did the same to Austin Aries. I was like, okay, Austin Aries is dead. As soon as he hit that, I was like, holy crap. I mean, it's brutal. It's devastating.
And everybody uses that snap suplex now, which could be dangerous in its own right. But I do like it, and a few people use it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I don't know what it is, but I thought it was a great opening match. And I kind of got why they put it first, why they put it on the pre-show. They didn't want to change the ropes in the middle of the show. And I thought, okay,
right, yeah.
Maybe that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
You could change the ropes while people were walking down to the ring for as long as it took them. So,
exactly. That's a very good point. But yeah, strong opener. And then we had the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I guess I should be mad about this, but I'm not really because I understand the logic. So basically, nobody we predicted won. None of our secondary picks won.
No.
The guy that won this match was Mojo Rawley. Now, that football player, I forgot his name. I guess he's one of the New
Rob
England.
Gronkowski.
Yeah, he's one of the New England Patriots. And I assumed that it was done for the mainstream publicity, so WWE can get the headlines on ESPN and that sort of thing. So, when you look at it from that perspective, it made sense. But the match itself, it was really weird because all the guys that have been getting pushed came off looking really weak, and I felt that, Mojo Rawley's probably not going to get a big push after this. I would be surprised. I mean, maybe he will, but I'm not expecting it. Big Show got eliminated right away. Strowman got eliminated pretty quickly. So it was different from what I was expecting. Jeff, what were your thoughts?
Full disclosure, I fell asleep. I have no idea what happened. I got told by you guys that Mojo won.
Okay. David?
Go ahead.
Well, I actually all I did was listen to it. I was busy kind of setting up and doing some things here in the No DQ Michigan headquarters. So I was just listening to it. But being that none of our picks won it, I do agree with you, Aaron. If I find it hard to believe they're going to use this to elevate Mojo, but you never know. Maybe he'll have a stab at the Intercontinental title or something. I don't know, but it seems like a waste. It was pretty crappy, if I may say. Maybe the weakest match on the card overall. What do you think, Greg?
Well, we just talked about cheat to win with Neville. When you have the New England Patriots involved too, you might as well have cheat to win.
Right on, Greg. Woo!
Now, Greg, did you see the part where he was jumping over the barricade and then that security guard bum rushed him? I do not think that was...
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of blew the run-in, but the run-in almost seemed pointless to me because he just tackled Jinder Mahal, who, by the way, finished runner-up in the thing, which is what in the freak?
Yeah.
Jobber.
Yeah.
Jobber Mahal.
What does it say about everybody else?
Exactly.
I don't know. Because you have
this is the burial match night for everybody.
Well, you know what it says? It says the roster on SmackDown is as thin as Baron Corbin's hair.
Oh.
Ooh. Well, Baron Corbin fans are going to dislike this video. They're going to dislike it even more
deep cuts, David. Deep cuts.
Yeah, when I talk about this next match, I think people are going to dislike it even more. I was pretty disappointed with Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin, but again, it was added to the kickoff at the last minute. It was not scheduled as a kickoff match. I guess we should have known after there was no promotion for it on SmackDown. I figured, they might put this down to the kickoff show, and the match was just a match. There was really nothing to it. We all thought Corbin was going to win, but in the end, it wasn't really much of a match, and Ambrose retained the title. So I'm not sure where Corbin goes from here. Greg, your thoughts?
Well, the panel stunk it up on the pre-show. That's
yeah, we did.
Wow, we were terrible. I was disappointed too. I was thinking that this would be used to elevate Corbin, even if it was on the pre-show. I think that he deserves a little bit more. I know Ambrose is, he has a little decent run with the Intercontinental Championship. I think Corbin could have elevated it a little bit more. And I was disappointed. No end of days at WrestleMania. It's like, oh man, I get jobbed out of my favorite finisher.
Yeah, Corbin hit the deep six, but that was it, and Ambrose kicked out.
Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot of it, but what I saw was not very pleasant. This could have been an elevation for both these guys. Ambrose has kind of been on the cusp of regaining his main event area there after he was champion for a while last year, and then Corbin is just so talented. He should not be relegated to a pre-show match. He's too talented to not be in the spotlight. I know Dave's not his biggest fan, and I understand that. But for me, I think this was a waste of two perfectly good talents and a perfectly good championship.
I mean, the finish was good.
The finish was good, but the overall layout and the whole thing the whole thing of Ambrose winning just made no sense to me.
David, any thoughts?
Well, whether I like Corbin or not, I feel that the title itself seems like it was done an injustice by not being on the main show. I think you could have squeezed it in there at some point. It is what it is. I thought that maybe they would use this for Corbin's year-long sort of build, but it wasn't. I sure hope that Ambrose is used better along the way, and the title gets elevated to the status it was when perhaps Daniel Bryan had it or The Miz, but
when Miz had definitely.
Yeah, remember 7 months ago, Dean Ambrose was the WWE World Champion. Now he's doing the kickoff matches, and Corbin eliminated Strowman at the Royal Rumble, and then he just loses on this kickoff match. What?
Yep.
Yeah, they didn't take much over from the Royal Rumble at all, Aaron. Other than Undertaker Reigns, they didn't do much.
And I'm expecting Reigns and Strowman to have another match at some point. So yeah, to me, I know WWE wanted the mainstream publicity with Mojo Rawley and the football guy, but man, I mean, Strowman should have won that. If you're going to be doing a Strowman-Reigns rematch, somebody needs to look really strong if they're going up against Roman Reigns. I mean, super strong after tonight. So that really just boggled the mind, The whole kickoff, other than Aries and Neville, I don't know.
When you look back at the end of the night and you look back at the booking of the Battle Royal, you go, wait, huh?
Yeah. Was it really worth the mainstream publicity, rather than pushing somebody that could face Reigns? Go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say, you're not looking forward to a Randy Orton versus Mojo Rawley WWE title feud?
Okay.
I mean, come on.
We'll get to that. I got a lot to say about that. We'll get to that in a few minutes here. I definitely have a lot to say about that match. So stay tuned. It's gonna be fun. So anyways, the main card kicked off. We had the New Day coming out. They cut a promo to hype up the show. The thing I liked overall on this show is that the New Day, their segments were kept to a minimal. And also, if you noticed on the show, there weren't a lot of I don't think there were really any backstage segments.
Zero.
In a way, I thought that was a good thing because it felt like there was less filler and things moved faster. I do like sometimes.
It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I like the pre-match promos, where they're being interviewed right before the match. But in this case, I think it was a good thing. The show felt like it moved a little bit faster, even though it was an extremely long show. There wasn't a lot of filler. Not filler with the New Day and, a bunch of random celebrities backstage. So on that note, it was a positive. But anyways, the first match of the night was AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon. Crowd was insanely into AJ. They even booed Shane a little bit. I thought this was a very good match. I mean, I was disappointed in the sense that, I was hoping for like that big spot. But the story of the match was that Shane McMahon was able to hold his own against AJ. Shane was fighting back. He was busting out some MMA moves. And, Shane's downfall was actually trying too many risks, like trying to do the big elbow, and he missed. He went through the table. And then he went for the shooting star press and missed that. And that's when AJ capitalized and picked up the victory. So Shane, held his own against AJ. That was the story. I think for what it was well done. I wouldn't say it was like a classic WrestleMania match or anything, but I thought it was very good, very strong opener. Greg, we'll start with you. Your thoughts.
A lot of people were telling me for weeks that they were not looking forward to Shane versus AJ at all. And I'm glad I get to shove this match in their face because I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yep. I mean, you had the physicality with AJ and Shane. You had the ref bump. You had the table break in the first match, which was kind of crazy. It's like, okay, we have another 4.5 hours to go. And then they reassembled the table later in the show. But regardless, I quite enjoyed this match. I enjoyed the fact that AJ managed to pull out the victory and get his first WrestleMania victory. I was really hoping for a spiral tap, though. I
WrestleMania.
Really hoped, but it didn't happen. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, it's funny because other than them not using a prop, because there was a lot of props there for being a traditional match, I thought they pulled out a lot of good spots. In fact, I give this a 4-star. This is a 4-star match for me. I thought it was a good opener. Some people may have questioned, well, why is it the opening match? I thought it was pretty good to be the opening match, actually. And to me, it sort of, with AJ, reminds me along the lines of what they did with Shawn Michaels as he opened WrestleMania 7, 8, and 9, and then eventually was the main event guy. So he's not too far along from that. The only question here is where do they go with the storyline? But overall, I thought it was a good match. I did guess right, though. I mean, the beginning, Shane was trying to stay with him and be like wrestler with him. And it was pretty good. I liked it. What do you think, Jeff?
I liked the line. By the way, we kind of got spiral tap in the women's title match, did we not, Greg? A little bit. We kind of spiral tap a little bit from Charlotte. We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, I liked the way it was presented. I liked the way it was laid out. I liked the way it was done. It could have been a complete train wreck, complete cluster, and it wasn't. It was actually really well done for a guy who is way north of his prime, as far as if you want to call him having a prime, and Shane McMahon not really being a wrestler. And you have AJ Styles, who has been the guy with consistent matches the last 12 months in WWE, the last 15 months in WWE, going out there and letting a guy who should not be wrestling at all. Period. Shane's great. He always has been great, but he should not be in a marquee match at WrestleMania. The fact that he pulled it off is something extraordinary to me, and I think that the shooting star press. I was literally out of my chair going, "What the hell did this happen?" He did a shooting star press in the middle of WrestleMania. Shane McMahon did that.
Cool.
I liked how it went down. I just think that we could have seen maybe a little bit more, but it was very good for an opener.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would have liked a Falls Count Anywhere match where they brawled in the stands and maybe Shane jumped off the concession something, or
right.
I don't know, just some crazy spot. But for what it was, I thought it was really good. Next up, we had Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the U.S. title. Jericho had a big, cool entrance. They brought back the countdown. They had the giant listed Jericho on the stage, and Jericho was wearing this light-up scarf, which was cool. Owens, doing all the trash talking, was largely booed. This was one of those matches where the good guy was cheered and the bad guy was booed. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. And I liked the finish. I liked when Owens was about to lose the match, but he was able to get one finger on the rope. And if you guys remember the painting, what's that painting called? I'm going to get messages for this.
Creation, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, the painting with the fingers touching. So like the one finger touching the rope, it was like a throwback to that. I thought it was really creative, actually. So and Jericho could say he lost because of one finger. So I thought it was really well done, very creative way to end the match. And then Kevin Owens won with the power bomb to the outside, rolled Jericho back in the ring and got the win. So I thought this was another strong match. David, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was a very solid match. If I'm going by the other Dave system, I'd say anywhere between 3.5 to 4 stars, definitely. Psychology was good. This was a perfect culmination of one example of a good booking job that they've done over the course of the last 8 months or so. And I was entertained. I still think there'll probably be a rematch at the next pay-per-view, which is what, Extreme Rules, if I'm
Payback.
Right?
Payback.
Oh, Payback. Okay, so they're switching them up. So, yeah, I see it, probably ending there, and there's probably going to be more to this. But I definitely thought it was for a 1 and 2 opening match, definitely very good. What do you think, Meech?
Meech, wow. I really liked the way the build was unbelievable. I mean, we were there for a good part of it when it was in LA. We saw the first real Kevin Owens sit down spotlight promo. That was really well done. Everything that's led up to this has been really good, and the match actually delivered. The match was solid from beginning to end. The right guy won, which I think is good. I think that I picked Jericho, to be honest with you, but I am glad I was wrong, because Kevin Owens being the U.S. champion and getting his title back from Chris Jericho makes the most sense. It was really, really greatly executed. Very well done.
Yeah. Well, real quick before Greg goes, I just wanted to add, the only reason I thought that Jericho was going to win is because they have another pay-per-view before the Fozzy tour. I thought maybe Jericho would win the first one and then Owens would win the second
That's
one.
why I said it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, I when this match was first announced, I figured, okay, Owens easily wins this one. But, I was thinking, maybe they would do it a different way. But anyways, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I enjoyed this match too. I thought it was another great match, Jericho's second Mania in a row with the second match on the card. But he delivered again, much like he did with AJ last year. I thought Jericho and Owens had an incredible match. I don't know. It wasn't the greatest match. It was solid for what it was. It wasn't the greatest match, though. I don't know what was missing from it, because it had the physicality, it had the trash talk, it really had everything. I don't know. Something was missing from it. I don't know what it was.
Just the stuff they usually do in the main events, maybe a little bit more use of weapons or ref bump or more near falls or something, They just weren't allowed to really go out there and have, the main event caliber match that they could have if they were in the main event.
This is one of those things where, it's one of those things where had they been turned loose and no holds barred or something like that this feud deserves, then maybe it would have been a little bit more special.
Exactly.
Which is why I only give it 3.5 stars, which is still pretty darn good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next we had the Raw Women's title match, the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match. Lots of cool entrances. Sasha came down. She was driven down to the ring. That was a nice little entrance there. Charlotte came out with this huge fireworks display. So basically the story of this match, Nia was, for a while dominating all three of them, but eventually the three of them worked together to eliminate Nia Jax. She was the first one out, as we all expected. And then here's where it got a little interesting, because I think we were expecting some sort of fireworks between Bayley and Sasha. And there were a few little teases, but it didn't happen on this show. Sasha was the second one out, and it was down to Bayley and Charlotte, and Bayley retained. So, yeah, Bayley won the match. And I thought the match was pretty good, but the booking of it, I think they should have done something more significant with it. Jeff, you're shaking your head, so let's start with you.
The Queen was dethroned again. I'm just it's frustrating. But my DDP pictures are still in my own personal possession, not posted for the world to see, because Sasha didn't win either, Greg. So there you go. Yeah, I think it could have been done a little differently. I think it kind of lost. I don't buy Bayley as a WWE Women's Division main eventer. I just don't buy it, and that's just my own personal taste. I dug the Charlotte Sasha feud last year going into this year. I liked Becky Lynch last year in the triple threat match, but I just don't. Bayley has to have some sort of shift in her character, I think, to really show that she can be a main eventer. I don't think she's done that to me yet.
Yeah, I think she should have won the title on this show, not last month.
Agreed. If they're going to have her win it and actually, get the feel-good moment, it should have been on the grand stage, not at whatever it was, Fastlane or whatever the hell it was.
Fastlane?
Yeah, it was Fastlane.
Whatever it was.
Well, she won on and beat Charlotte at Fastlane.
Right, she won at the Rumble, and then she retained at Fastlane, which is garbage also. I don't buy her as a main eventer. So for me, her retaining at WrestleMania, not even winning it, retaining, just doesn't make sense to me. But Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I watched that Bring It to the Table. I don't know if it was JBL or Corey Graves who said that he likes the SmackDown Women's Division better because it's literally all year been the same four, and we've seen this dog and pony act before, and I think it's sort of run its course. And agreed, they used the build-up to Bayley the wrong way, and I'm not sold on Bayley in the least. She's definitely not a main eventer. I think her gimmick is just not over majorly, except with the kids maybe. Hug me.
Yeah.
Hug me. but yeah, it could have been booked better, and I thought Charlotte should have won this at this point. But we all kind of agreed and said that they would all team up on Nia to begin with, and that's certainly what happened. But
that was kind of easy to see. We all kind of called that one, so I'm proud of that one. But it was pretty easy.
So I'm going to get flack for this, but I give this 2.5 stars. I was disappointed. What do you think, Greg?
Well, I'm going to steal Jeff Meacham line again. Here's the thing. Bayley's character is not her fault, in my opinion. No. It's the fault of the writers. And you know what? That's been really a curse for Team Red. Because you know what? Think back 2 years ago to NXT Bayley Sasha Banks at TakeOver Brooklyn. Match of the year, in my opinion.
Yep.
I mean, they voted the triple threat between Lesnar, Rollins, and Cena, which arguable, but I think Bayley Sasha overtook that. Regardless, my wife made to mention Jen picked Bayley to win before the match, so
yes, she did. Yes, she did.
But the match fell a little flat for me, and maybe that's just because Sasha got eliminated second, and it was kind of a weak way for her to be eliminated. Yes, it exposed turnbuckle, but I was like, man, after all the crap you went through with Charlotte, that's how you get eliminated?
Yeah, like the Iron Man match.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the crap out of each other for like 6 months. It's like, okay, exposed turnbuckle, that's it for Sasha. It's like, wow, no heat on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
I agree. I think, they just booked this whole thing wrong. They should have had Bayley either win the title here or shoot the breakup angle with Sasha and Bayley on this show.
Yep. You know what? As they always say on Bishop of Wrestling, hindsight is 20/20, and we call bullshit. We're looking back now, a few minutes after the show ended, and we're like, yeah, it could have been this. When you start it, you kind of go, okay, well maybe it can be this, but we didn't do it right. So it's really.
I will say the one positive, I like Bayley using the elbow off the top as a finisher instead of the Bayley to belly. I think that's an improvement.
I agree with that.
I found it a little bit markish, if I may say, but it was better than the belly to belly because that's a weak finisher. They haven't done that since Harley Race. Come on.
Shane Douglas.
All right. I'll give you that. You're right.
All
Go
right.
Pittsburgh.
So next up, we had, in my opinion, the highlight of WrestleMania. We had the Raw Tag Team Title ladder match, which was originally supposed to be the three teams: Anderson and Gallows, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Enzo Cass. Oh, by the way, I keep saying Cesaro. You know, mixing the two of them together.
Shazam.
I'm just gonna say it from. I'm not even gonna misspeak. I'm just gonna say that as their name, Cesaro, so I don't have to say both names. So Cesaro came out wearing their kilts for their entrance, which was pretty cool. And then you had the New Day come out, and I don't know about you guys, but I thought the New Day was going to put themselves in this match, and everyone was going to get pissed off.
I did too, briefly.
Yeah, for a split second, I'm like, I really hope New Day doesn't announce themselves, or the fans are going to shit on this match. But everyone started doing the delete chant, so people were anticipating the Hardys coming out, and sure enough, the Hardys are back to their old music. Matt had the streak in his hair, but beyond that, they were pretty much just the old WWE Hardy Boys. Although I think Matt did do the delete sign a little bit.
He did.
He did play to the crowd with that.
He did it though. They started cutting away, but yeah, he did it.
Yeah, but the crowd was totally into it. They were doing the delete chants. They were chanting "Brother Nero" very loudly at one point. So they were definitely reacting to the broken Hardys. And Michael Cole on commentary did say that things, what was it? He used the phrase broken. I don't remember the exact phrase that he said.
Things are about to get broken.
Things are about to get
broken.
Yeah, so they did reference that. And awesome match. This was a lot of fun to watch with the Hardys in there. And I think it would have been a very entertaining match regardless. We all picked Enzo and Cass. And, for some reason, again, I'm not sure why none of us, when we did the predictions video, we brought up the Hardys. None of us did. So
I think we all get a pass on this one, just because we had no idea. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I my attitude. I think we did touch it. We did touch upon it last night. The video you were not on, Jeff.
Okay.
We did talk about it, and my idea, my thought process was, I'll believe it when I see it. I did not want to get my hopes up that they would show up, and then they don't. But they did show up, and it was awesome.
We didn't know what capacity they were going to show up in either. Was it just going to be, hey, we're here, or was it going to be in a match? So I didn't expect it. I kind of got chills when I heard the music, man. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I will give Matt and Jeff oodles of credit. It was either Friday or last night.
Saturday.
They were in a ladder match against the Bucks.
It was last night, yeah.
Yep.
Last freaking night, they're down there with the Ring of Honor. They're having a ladder match against the Young Bucks. And they're coming out tonight and having another ladder match.
And I saw the clips. That match was insane. They took some crazy bumps in that match.
I'm telling you, the Hardys are in a career renaissance right now, and they're back in WWE. Hopefully, they'll be able to keep the momentum going. But credit to both the Hardys and the Young Bucks, especially for making sure the Hardys were taken care of going into tonight.
Yeah. Well, when the Hardys won the titles, like they were panning to shots, and like little kids in the crowd were popping huge. So it's like the Hardys can come
without running through the match.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, Greg, what were your thoughts on the match?
Well, of course, I marked the hell out when the Hardys came out, and I saw the streak in the hair. I saw Matt doing the delete chants all the way down. And when they were celebrating with the titles, you could see Matt mouth, "Wonderful!" So I think he's going to keep the gimmick, because he was doing it the whole time. So I think they might not reference him as broken Matt Hardy, but he's still going to keep the gimmick up, which, in my opinion, I'll take the compromise. I'll take that.
Yeah.
But it was an awesome moment. It was a great match. And, the crowd was hot the entire time, but that was probably because the Hardys had just showed up and then won the tag team titles. It was moment of the night, in my opinion.
Yeah.
David, your thoughts overall?
No, it sounded like Jeff was eager to say something. Go for it, Jeff.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, well, no, for me, it was great. It was definitely a surprise. I don't know why I didn't think they were going to be here in this spot, but it was great. And actually, to me, it elevated to a 4.5-star match. I thought the match itself was actually really good. It felt like an old school tables, ladders, and chairs sort of match. I thought there was good spots. I liked it, and the crowd was hot. And it's moments like that. It's the overall moment, the overall feeling of how you felt is what I rate a match on. And I thought it was great. To never expect them to win the titles the first day back.
Yeah.
So think about this. I want to credit one of you guys who brought this up in the chat on Facebook. Within a month span or whatever, they've had the TNA tag team titles. Thank you, Jeff. The Ring of Honor titles, and now the WWE Raw titles. Amazing, dude. And now I'm actually excited going forward to see the tag team division in Raw. This is going to be really good, man.
That has to be there has to be some sort of precedent there, because I don't think any team has won those 3 championships in that short span of time. I don't think ever.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. It felt like a WrestleMania moment. It felt like a really big deal. Like
it was.
That's something we'll always remember. So that was great, and we'll see what they do on Raw. My guess is it'll be some sort of hybrid. They'll do some of the parts of the broken gimmick, but they'll also be their old WWE characters. It'll be somewhere in the middle. That's what I'm expecting, at least. Them being back is just awesome. They don't even have to really do the full-fledged broken gimmick. They should, though, because it was it's the hottest thing in the independent scene, and it was the hottest thing in TNA. So WWE could make it work. Maybe expand on it and do some different things, because how WWE is about not wanting to use other people's ideas, but maybe they can come up with some new ideas with those similar types of characters. So we'll see what they do on Raw. It's going to be an interesting promo.
And real quick, if I just might add too, I want to credit, and I said this before we started taping, I want to credit the Hardys really for really coming up with a character that stood out in TNA, that it was really an unwatchable show except for them. So for them to do such a character that fans know about, and then being in Orlando was perfect. I credit the Hardys for that, for being able to make a character that stood out on a crappy show. Let's face it.
Absolutely.
But it's so funny. For the longest time, it was all about the world focused more on Jeff's creativity and imagination, if you will, than it was Matt Hardy. And all of a sudden, Matt Hardy is the hottest ticket in town. So God bless both of them for having, like I said, a career renaissance.
Yeah, they're both red hot. Yeah, this is definitely a career renaissance for those guys. So moving on here, we had the mixed tag team match: John Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maurice. Al Roker as the ring announcer, and he got a lot of boos. He was booed pretty heavily. Crowd was very much into Miz. They were cheering him like crazy. But this match more or less went pretty much exactly like I expected. Miz and Maurice, they got some offense, but in the end, John and Nikki dominated them at the end with the stereo 5-knuckle shuffles, and then the stereo AA and rack attacks and the stereo pinfalls. So, I knew it was going to happen. I knew people were going to be upset about Miz losing in that fashion, but we all knew it was going to happen. And the aftermath, we all pretty much figured it was going to happen with the proposal, but I thought it was really well done. And, some might laugh at this, but I did get a little teary-eyed when they did the proposal. I thought it was very well done. David, we'll start with you. Your thoughts.
I don't know. I'm sort of new school. I don't really believe in marriage all that much. It doesn't get me goo gaga. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have been married, but I just don't get into that. I don't watch Total Divas. I'm not invested in that. I will say the storyline between The Miz and Cena was edgy. It was good. It was the most edgy I've seen Cena in a while. But I thought for me, the match itself sort of fell flat. It was cliche. It was predictable. The fans weren't into Al Roker at all. I mean, I don't think he did that great of a job for a guy that's been on TV for over 20 years of announcing. I thought Bob Uecker at WrestleMania 3 did a much better job. With that being said, it was a 2.5 star, again, match for me. I thought, everybody expected this moment, but this is sort of where it fell off for me to show. But I don't know. What do you think, Greg? We'll go to you.
See, the match I didn't think was anything to write home about, and I didn't expect it to be. I didn't expect it to be a technical clinic at all, but let's face it, the whole point of it was to get to the proposal, which admittedly, I thought was a cool moment. I mean,
really? But it wasn't Liz and Randy cool, and that was kayfabe. I don't know. For me, I just didn't feel it. We knew it was coming.
It's not 1991 either.
The crowd was not disrespectful. They were into it.
And they shouldn't be.
They were into it more than I thought they would be.
Go ahead, Greg.
Let me talk. Damn it. All right. I just thought it was a cool moment. I mean, seeing Cena and Nikki, I mean, it's something that, let's face it, Nikki Bella has wanted her entire life, really. I mean, maybe not just the Cena, but she's wanted to get married. She's wanted to have kids. Obviously, we'll see if that happens. But the fact that Cena and Nikki are going to get married, hopefully out of kayfabe, because we know how wrestling weddings work. I mean, we'll see what happens, but good for the both of them. Jeff, what do you think?
Greg, you and I know better than a lot of people about John's relationship, shall we say. So let me just say that I am legitimately surprised that he actually went through with it. number one. Number two, it was a feel good. It was very sweet and very, very heartwarming. If you buy into that, I see. I'm kind of in the middle between Dave and Greg. Like Dave doesn't get the whole marriage thing, and I'm kind of like in that spot too. I got my boy, and I'm happy. And marriage is like not my thing right this very second. But at the same time, I do believe that there is somebody out there that may catch my eye at some point. You never know. So
never know. Say never.
For me, John and Nikki are happy. They seem happy. Despite what Ms. Marie said, they are happy, and more power to them. The match itself was complete garbage, I thought. it was really craptastic, but, the moment was there, and that's all WrestleMania is really is moments.
Yeah, it was a great moment, and, I think it's a modern-day Randy Savage and Elizabeth, and maybe, us older fans might not be as invested in it, but I think a lot of the younger audience will look at that. They'll think of that like Randy Savage and Elizabeth for decades to come. So I thought the segment was very well done with the proposal. I will say that. I think, it worked out well. But anyways, let's move on here. We have the non-sanctioned match, Triple H and Seth Rollins. Triple H with the big Undertaker-style entrance with the motorcycle, complete with police escorts. Seth Rollins came out with a torch, and he set the LED ramp on fire, I guess. Go ahead, Jeff.
Can I just say how hot Stephanie looked real quick before we move on to the match?
Hotter than last year?
Yeah.
And I heard sirens. I thought Triple H did that just to take a jab at Steiner.
Damn.
Well, every time I hear an ambulance on WWE TV, I think Steiner's going to come out, and then I just realize it's not meant to
Anyway,
be.
sorry, go ahead.
All right, so anyways, I thought this was a good match. It was a typical Triple H match, slow-paced, lots of psychology. They were having Rollins selling his knee, and basically Rollins would hit a move, and then he'd sell the knee, and, he kept doing all these big moves and somehow managed to pull through it. I don't think it was quite as good as, like, Shawn Michaels and Triple H from SummerSlam in 2002, but I still thought it was pretty good overall. I did feel the match went on a bit too long. That was my biggest criticism of it. But I did like the finish a lot. The finish was Stephanie up on the apron, and Triple H accidentally knocked Stephanie off the apron. She went through the table, and then Rollins hit the pedigree, so he beat Triple H with the pedigree, which I liked, which is something we talked about when we did the prediction. So, with the finish, overall I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good, but, not a classic. Greg, we'll start with you.
I would have to agree with that, and I know we agree on everything. But the match did go on a little bit long. It dragged at some points. The finish was good. I agree with that. I don't know. I think a lot of us were expecting Samoa Joe to interfere or have some involvement, and he wasn't on the show at all.
At all.
No Joe.
Perhaps for Raw, which is what I'm thinking. They'll save that for Raw and save return for tomorrow night on Raw. But I don't know. It was a good match, not a great match. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, but if you factor in the legitimacy of the injury to Seth Rollins, it makes it a little bit easier to digest. The fact that it wasn't a 5-star or even a 4-star match, it was okay. It was pretty good, but it wasn't great. It was okay. I like the psychology of it. I like the fact that, Rollins just cannot hit one freaking move without hurting his knee, and just to really build to the finish of something had to be done drastically to make sure that Triple H took the loss. And, his wife going down is a pretty drastic measure in my opinion. So I think that's a great way to go. I think we are yet to be done with these guys being involved in the ring together. I think we'll see at least one more go around. But, yeah, where's Joe? What are we going to see with him tomorrow night and beyond?
Good point.
It's a good question. Where is Joe? Hey, Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? But I give it 3 stars. It's a 3-star match. It was okay. Wasn't the most, and the reason why the psychology was good, because that's where Triple H, I think, excels in. He's the psychology master. Seth Rollins is the athlete. He's still got some time to develop that. I mean, it takes a long to get to that echelon of ring psychology. So with that being said, it was okay, and like you said, coming back from an injury, so it is what it is. It's a 3-star match. It was okay. We'll probably see this drug out just a little bit more, but I thought the match went on a little too long, like you guys said, and
agreed.
but like I said, at this point, I think even the crowd started to just kind of, it was okay.
Yeah, the crowd started to lose heat for this by this point of the show too, and it just got worse as the show went on. That's what happens when you do a really long show. One thing real quick I wanted to mention, no Daniel Bryan either. I think maybe that would have been a cool way for that match to end with the mixed tag, to have Daniel Bryan come out there and beat up The Miz and be the deciding factor. But no Bryan on this show, so that was a little interesting. But anyways, next up we had the piss break, which was Flo Rida and what's his name? Pitbull.
Flo Rida.
Flo Rida.
Florida,
whatever.
Florida with a silver. You're right than me.
I am. I like music, and
you too.
To me, talking about taking shots is not my idea of good music, and saying we're gonna have a good time. Red light, green light.
Pop music, shallow.
Red light, green light. Let's take some shots. Yeah, real intellectually stimulating stuff right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes the music we do, Riff, but
Yeah, I'd rather they be on drugs and then write like creative poetry, that sort of thing, rather than just talking about drinking.
Anyways, called.
let's not talk about music here and get too off track.
Into the weeds. Here we go.
Before I get all these dislikes for knocking the current popular music that everybody loves. So we had the WWE title match, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton, and I did not like this match. I was very disappointed with it. I thought the match itself was just very average at best, technically, and the gimmick they did with the maggots, the various graphics of the maggots and the worms and the cockroaches, I thought that was incredibly dumb. It reminded me of Papa Shango putting a voodoo curse on the Ultimate Warrior. I thought it was really ridiculous. I did not like it. And the crowd was dead. They were not into the match. And then top it all off, Randy Orton wins. And I did not understand the logic here. I think Bray Wyatt should have had a lengthy run as champion. He's the new star they're trying to build up. To me, there was no need for Orton to win the title here. I think Bray needed it much more than Randy, and wasn't a fan of the title change. It was a 1-month title reign for Bray Wyatt. Wasn't a fan. So, Jeff, your thoughts?
Again, this is one of those things where, being doped up on cold pills kills you, because I watched Bray walk out, and then I heard Randy's music. I remember hearing Randy's music, and then I wake up, and Randy's got the belt over his head. I went, oh, okay, what happened? So I asked you guys, and you told me, oh, okay, cool. I guess. I mean, I think it's really a bad idea to have Randy win the championship for whatever it is, the 12th, 13th, whatever it is time. Bray being champion makes more sense right now. I think Bray being a champion for a longer time makes more sense right now. I think he's, like you said, Aaron, he's the guy they're going with right now after being in the lower rung for so long, trying to get through that barrier of being the guy. He was the guy, and then because Randy won the Rumble, like, you're not the guy anymore. Sorry. It's really a piss poor way to do somebody, I think. Greg, what do you think?
The gimmick with the maggots and stuff, I thought that was cool the first time. I think they overdid it though. It's like, for the first time, creep Orton out, and then don't do it again the rest of the match. But they did it 2 more times. And it's like, okay, we get it now.
And it still failed.
Leave it alone. But yeah. I mean, I heard that was creepy chant after the first one, but
that was creepy.
That was creepy.
After the second and third ones, they were kind of like, whatever. Yeah. But the match, again, nothing to write home about. I mean, It was just a regular. Orton's had better matches on SmackDown. The match against AJ.
That's why I said they should bet AJ Orton. I mean, what the heck,
Yeah, really.
I don't know.
But, I mean, maybe that's what they're going with. Maybe they'll go with AJ Orton at the next pay-per-view for SmackDown, but I guess we'll see. It
would only make sense. AJ be the commissioner and Orton won the championship. It only makes sense to have him go that direction now.
I guess.
Possibly. Or maybe they'll go for a rematch and they'll do much like Cena and JBL at Mania 21 and have a far better match with a stipulation later on.
I like that idea too.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, David?
I guess it's my turn to talk.
Yes, it is. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. Maybe in their mind, they think Bray Wyatt is the next Undertaker who doesn't need a title for him to get over. But I don't think that's the case. Do you, Aaron? I don't know if he's. I think it does him a disjustice. And to me, and I said it a lot dirtier, but I'll clean it up here. But Randy Orton's got to be in somebody's good graces to get this kind of title. I mean, it's crazy. Now he's going to be in the same breath as Cena and Flair and Triple H now. I don't like it. It's a 2.5-star match for me. I didn't think the technicality was good. I thought the creepy stuff wasn't. I mean, the people were silent, but they were silent because, quite frankly, they were probably a little bit bored.
And they don't know who to cheer for either. The storyline.
They don't know who to cheer for.
As interesting as it was, it wasn't really clear who was the good guy and who was the bad guy. People asking me, like, is Orton a heel now because he burned down the guy's compound? People were confused.
And whereas AJ, I'm sorry, Jeff, just my last point. Whereas AJ elevated that title to being the best overall title in the company, I don't see it that way anymore.
Now, I was going to say, Dylan, even we were watching the pre-show before he left for his mom, he goes, Daddy, who's a good guy? I said, I have no freaking idea.
Yeah.
Right? No, that's confusing. When the kids don't know, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next up, we had Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. Paul Heyman did the intro for Lesnar. Basically, if you missed the match, it went like this. It was 4 minutes and 25 seconds, and there were literally 4 moves done the entire match. A bunch of spears, a jackhammer, a bunch of suplexes, and an F5. That was it. Goldberg speared Lesnar through the barricade. They were rushing through this, very little selling.
Yeah.
Just one spear, suplex city, another spear, jackhammer, Lesnar kicks out. Lesnar leapfrogs and dodges the spear and then hits 10 suplexes and then does the F5 and that's it. So, that was it. I thought it was very predictable and I felt it was okay for what it was, but I was still expecting more. I was still hoping they would actually have a legitimate match, more than just 4 moves. But I don't know. Jeff, your thoughts?
Hey, Dave, does the other Dave give negative stars?
Meltzer?
Yeah.
Meltzer?
Whatever his name is.
I think he gave Hogan and Andre like minus 10 stars or something.
Because, golly, was this bad. Like, I mean, I get that, it has to be short because Goldberg's all. I hate it to be short because Lesnar needs to look like a dominating conqueror or whatever. But the whole point of, in my opinion, the whole point of bringing Goldberg back and putting him with Brock Lesnar was to make it better than the match at 20. And it wasn't at all. It was garbage. Granted, it took a short time, and it was less garbage, but it was still garbage. It was horrible. I'm done. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the worst piece of shite, if I can steal a term from the Irish and Scottish. That the build, everything about it was predictable. I could see why it didn't go on last, but had it gone on last, they could have thought of a better idea and a better reason to send them happy or to at least make them interested in the match. I guess that, okay, let it go about 10 minutes, but let it be really stiff. Let him throw some elbows. Let's have somebody get cut open. Let's have it feel a little bit like a UFC MMA fight.
Yeah.
And it didn't. It was awful, very predictable. And now we're going to see Lesnar defend the title once every 4 months again, right? So
maybe a little bit more. He's apparently going to be working more matches. He'll be doing somewhat of a heavier schedule. I'm not going to say full time, but.
And was it just me, or did he look a little out of shape? He looked a little flabby in the scut.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Greg?
Well, I was going to say, Greg, hang on a second, Greg. You know what? Brock may look fat, but you call him fat. Go ahead. I'll dare you.
Yeah,
I didn't say first. I said he looked out of shape. If he wants to take that as an insult,
You tell him he's flabby. I'll
from Michigan.
David Payne, Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah, you tell him. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to disagree with you guys. I actually enjoyed this.
Oh, Greg.
Hear me out before you groan and complain. I thought this match was exactly what it needed to be. It was less than 5 minutes, but they beat the crap out of each other, and I had just had fun with it because it's like, I'm not expecting a technical masterpiece. I'm not expecting Angle Benoit here. It's like, these guys, they only have a few moves. Let them hit their moves, let them beat the crap out of each other, and finish the match in less than 5 minutes. I was happy with it. It was what it was. It was better than Mania 20, in my opinion, because the crowd was better than Mania 20.
Yeah.
And it's like, despite what happened, it's like it was cool. I had fun with it.
Well, Goldberg
Well,
did
like-
take 10 suplexes, so
Yeah. But I will say this: I don't want WWE to ever book a WrestleMania major match around a plug of a video game or anything like that again.
well,
Or
I guarantee you it will not be the last time.
Well,
I-
unless Angle's the character. What if
Well,
Angle's
if
the character?
Angle's the character, I'm on board, baby. We all know that. So
Yeah.
That should Greg. That should we all be. Damn it.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle's the man.
So then we had the main event here: Roman Reigns versus The
Women's
Undertaker.
title match.
Jim Ross, basically a retirement match, but we'll get to that in a second here. Jim Ross came out to do commentary, so you knew something was up. JR coming out for the main event. This is not ordinary.
Aaron,
Yeah.
I got to stop you. You just totally shit on the SmackDown Women's title match. That was the filler in between that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Wow, we are fired
Right
from
there.
WWE
All right,
fandom.
let's
right
go
there.
back to that. So the SmackDown Women's title match, Naomi won the title in her hometown.
Okay, and that's it.
That's not what you said.
But that's-
All right.
I honestly thought that. I honestly thought the story of the women's match on SmackDown was better than the Raw. I mean, the Raw women's match kind of fell off the rails there once Shotzi got eliminated. I thought so.
I agree.
Yep.
And even though the SmackDown Women's match was a little bit of a cluster, I mean, let's face it, it was all over the place. But
Yes.
for what it was, and for the fact that Naomi got her title back, which gave me the predictions win.
It did. You got the most of all of us with like less than half of the matches correct.
I don't completely suck. But the thing is, the match, I wasn't expecting, again, a technical classic with all 6 of them in there at the same time. But it was really just the spotlight to put Naomi back over because she had to relinquish it due to injury. And I didn't think that now that she's healthy again, that they put the title back on her, which is exactly what they did, which I'm fine with, and hopefully they can have good one-on-one matches between Naomi and Alexa Bliss again.
Let's hope.
Well said.
All right.
All right, David, any thoughts before we get to the main event?
No, everybody said it. I just wanted to make sure so we didn't get people saying, "Well, how come you guys don't like women?" or something crazy.
Yeah,
Like
they'll say something. I've been called a racist for making just random comments about something, and they'll say we're sexist for skipping over the match. Welcome to 2017. All the snowflakes get offended at every little thing.
Oversensitive.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of dislikes. So I'll be the one that
Just
gets all
have
the
to
heat for
delete
this
them.
video. We'll have to delete
Leave
them.
them all.
All right.
All
All right, so the main event, Undertaker, Roman Reigns. Like I said, JR was there doing commentary. That was a sign. Michelle McCool was there at ringside. That was a bit of a giveaway that something was up here. Crowd was booing Reigns heavily. So basically the story of this match was Reigns kept trying to put away The Undertaker, but The Undertaker would keep coming back. Undertaker would hit his big moves. He brought in a chair to use on Reigns. Reigns kicked out of a choke slam on the steel chair, and then Reigns kicked out of the tombstone. And then they tried to do a spot where they were going to reverse the tombstone, and they botched it really bad. I mean, that looked like complete crap, and that was the last thing Reigns needed at this point, was to botch a key spot in the match like that. He kept trying to pick him up, too. It just didn't work, and then he just went for a Superman punch, and he hit like half a dozen Superman punches. I forgot the exact amount, but he'd hit it. Undertaker would kick out. He'd hit it again. He'd kick out. And he kept trying all these different things. And finally, he was able to, what was it? Was it another No, it was another spear. So it was like a spear, Superman punch, spear, Superman punch. And finally, he was able to beat The Undertaker. And then all the pyro went off, crowd booed, and Reigns left. And then Undertaker laid there motionless in the ring, and finally he got up. The crowd chanted, "Thank you, Taker." He put back on his outfit. He stood in the ring with his music playing. The crowd gave him a standing ovation. The crowd began to realize this is his swan song. This is it for The Undertaker. He took off the jacket. He took off the gloves. He took off his entire costume, left it in the ring, and he went his way. He went up the ramp. He saluted the fans, and that appears to be the end of The Undertaker. So, Jeff, we'll start with you, since you were there at WrestleMania 24. You were there for the end of Ric Flair's career, and here we are 9 years later, back in Orlando, what appears to be The Undertaker's final match.
I've made no secret about the fact that The Undertaker and I are like, I kind of drew to him right away because when I started watching in 1990, a month later he debuted as The Undertaker in the WWF at the time. And even though he faced my hero Hulk Hogan, even though he locked the Ultimate Warrior in a casket, he was still one of my favorites from the get. The match itself, before I go off in the weeds here, the match itself was really not good, and that's a shame for The Undertaker's final outing to have a subpar match. There were some good moments. There were some bad moments. There were a lot of bad moments, actually. The botch you mentioned, Aaron, was like, wow, are we really going to send The Undertaker out like this with a horrible botch on a move? That was terrible. The fact that my dad wasn't here sucks because he's currently on his way back from Staples Center. I think he's going to wrap up their game here at Staples Center. Because that's his favorite. Macho Man was his favorite early on, but he gravitated to The Undertaker as well. He was there in Orlando when The Undertaker won the World Title match. We were there together, he and I. It looks like this is it, so I'll do a Undertaker and tip my hat and say that I don't think that my fandom will ever be quite the same again. Greg?
I think we can all be glad to say that we've all witnessed an Undertaker WrestleMania match.
Yes, sir.
And, there's just something special about him coming out, like just his entrance. I've mentioned this before, that when he comes out, even in an outdoor stadium, it gets 10 degrees colder as soon as he comes out. It makes no sense to me, like, scientifically, but it's just the aura that he has, and it's like, now that we saw there's no other way to put it than that has to be his swan song, his retirement. That it's not gonna feel the same at WrestleMania anymore, or really in the WWE anymore. And it truly is what we thought it was 5 years ago, the end of an era.
Yep.
I don't know what to say. Undertaker, arguably the greatest WWE superstar of all time. David?
Yeah, I have memories up the wazoo with The Undertaker. I mean, he won his first WWF title at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. I remember how sad I was when he got locked in the casket at Royal Rumble 94, and I thought it was over, and then he's coming back. I mean, just his career is just so illustrious. Now, with that being said, forgive me for being the pessimist here, and forgive me, I'm going to start my one allotted cuss word, swear word of the night, but this is bullshit, okay? This should have been built up. If the Undertaker was going to call it his last match, his final hurrah, they should have announced it as that. They should have had a Shawn Michaels thing where it was like something versus career, okay? And it should have been with John Cena or somebody really big to send him off. I don't like this. I don't like it at all because, see this guy right here? They are doing so much to manipulate us to love this man. They didn't even do a heel turn. What the hell, man? This bothers me. It bothers me that we had no fair warning that this was Undertaker's last match, and it had to be over to put over this guy in one of the sloppiest matches I've seen The Undertaker do in a very long time. So I digress, but that's my feeling on it. And again, 2 years in a row, I think the fans are sent home kind of pissed. I think overall it was great, and the Hardys redeemed the pay-per-view, but this ending was just underwhelming, to say the least. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I feel I should be more upset about The Undertaker retiring, I think it'll set in tomorrow. Right now we're still getting over the shock of everything. But yeah, I think it could have been done better. It's a disappointing end to his career. It would have been nice for him to. First of all, I wish the streak had ended. If it was gonna, be his last match, I wish he still had the streak going in. But, I felt the match itself could have been done better. And, I don't see Reigns ever turning, but I don't see how people are ever going to really accept him now after this. The guy that retired The Undertaker is a babyface, which is what I predicted. I figured WWE would just do whatever the hell they feel like, and they're just.
So your hair is safe, my friend.
That's the one positive. At least I didn't have to dye the hair. I thought that was a pretty safe bet.
So they gave us the Hardy. They said the hell with the main event, right?
Roman Reigns.
I'm going to do what I want to do, damn it.
Roman Reigns is now the guy that retired The Undertaker, and WWE wants him to be the top babyface.
Don't say that. sounds bad when you say it that way.
That's the way it is.
It's the way it is, Dave. Unfortunately, that's the way they're going to book this now, forever and ever.
Hold on. Maybe Riff should get like a pink streak in his hair if Reigns turns tomorrow.
I don't think that'll happen. I'm done with my bets for the year. That's it. But anyways,
a good prediction well could happen, but Rift hair is safe for the time being.
All right. So, anyways, real quick before we wrap this up, let's do a letter grade. You know, we do the letter grades for all the shows. You know, I give the show. I'll give it a solid B. Jeff.
C+, borderline B-. Like it's right there on the cusp of B-, but not quite.
Greg.
I'll give it low B, high B-, like around there. Okay. Because I think the Hardys coming back really elevated the show, really elevated, like you said, the first 2/3 of the show, really solid, and last a little bit had its moments.
David?
I couldn't agree more. B-. I have a hard time giving it a C anywhere in the C's because that was like last year to me, but as Greg said, the Hardys elevated it, so B- for me.
All
B-,
right.
not disappointed.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being on. This video went about an hour, so that was like 1/8 of WrestleMania, just us talking about it.
Get some sleep, Greg. It's 1:15, baby.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I took tomorrow off work. I don't have to get up early,
Smart
so I
guy.
don't care.
Neither do I. The boy's not here. I work till the night.
Well, you guys are very smart to get tomorrow off. So I still got to post this video, but fortunately, I'm on the West Coast. You know, Jeff and I are here in the western part of the United States. So
but you sleep at like 9 p.m. though. So
yeah, I know it's way past my bedtime, and I got to get up early again tomorrow to start the grind again for the biggest Monday of the year with the post WrestleMania. Well, going to be very interesting. I'm curious to see how things play out on Monday and Tuesday also. They're going to be in Orlando for that as well. But anyways, that'll wrap it up for this video. Jeff Meacham at Twitter _Jeff Meacham. David Payne at SmartMark420 and Greg Cherry at PA Sensation. Aaron Rift, of course, and NoDQ.com. Stay tuned for the very latest. We will see you guys next time.